Hello everyone, and welcome to a video about imagining what it would be like if you ran Wizards of the Coast. It's clear that the leadership team is currently struggling right now. Alright, let's be honest, they're drunk at the wheel. So I figure maybe one of these so-called armchair gamers might be able to take a crack at it. So let's give it a shot and see if we can't do any better. And I do want to hear your guys' plan of action if you were in charge too down in the comments. So first and foremost, this is the lowest of low-hanging fruit. We really need to fire anyone who was even involved in creating the OGL 1.1. And the harsh reality of that is it's probably an executive, a higher up, or even higher than that, some shareholder. So distancing yourself from something like that or an entity like that is very hard with a lot of legal work. But over the current years, Magic the Gathering has been failing at an exponential rate, almost as if someone's doing it on purpose. Not to mention, this Dungeons and Dragons OGL debacle happened at the literal worst time when the D&D brand was just about to have its best year with the opening up of new IPs and movies and other things like that. I believe there's a reasonable legal debate. There may also be a little bit of speculation with this one, but one might say they're doing this intentionally to maybe even sell the company. Usually to a subsidiary of themselves, so that way they can make more money, because, you know, that's how our system works. But at the very least, there should at least be enough to take this to court. And in all reality, law is incredibly complicated, especially big business law, because it's manipulated. So I'm probably missing about 17 steps in between there, and if you guys do know those steps, please let me know. Number 2, sorry guys, but we gotta sign the orc. It didn't have to be this way, and nobody asked for this. And you must also acknowledge, but because of the OGL debacle, you don't get to be in the initial planning stage of the orc either. You've literally taken your seat away from the table for that. And no, an OGL 1.0b isn't going to change this, and I'm sorry, but neither is your survey. You've opened up Pandora's box and there's no closing it. The only way you can start earning your seat back at the table is by signing the orc. After clearing house and trying to gain some legal goodwill, we must comb through the previous controversies and see if there was truly anything of merit. Some things like throwing out the baby with the bathwater shouldn't be accepted here. Stuff like AIDMs for current modules designed for new or even solo players to break down those barriers into the entryway to the hobby. And another overstated but kind of unpopular fact is that D&D is under-monetized. The D&D brand does not make most of the things that are required to play Dungeons and Dragons, and that's just an oversight in general. So if I was in charge, effective immediately, I would have Dungeons and Dragons start producing their own products, like miniatures not off of somebody else's production line, maps, STL files, and so many other of the hundreds of products that D&D doesn't make. And they totally could, and that would be such a fair way to monetize. And this point kind of harkens back to the point from number 2. Hasbro is the world's largest toy company. Why are they not making it so Dungeons and Dragons can put out so much product through their toy lines, miniatures, and anything else? They should be enabled to go nuts with absolute any product they want. They would be able to make it pennies on the dollar because they're the largest toy company in the world. So in my opinion, and it's honestly an oversight that Hasbro hasn't done that, and it's them holding back. Another thing that you could put in for a legal precedent, the parent company's main money-making vessel would by all rights excel Dungeons and Dragons to new heights if they just tried, but they won't. So why is it a parent company of that company? And step number 4, we're still going to be moving into the digital space with our new and state-of-the-art virtual tabletop. And as far as creatives go, none of their plans are going to be canceled. They are the heart's work of our brand, and we are going to bring them to a new forefront. And altogether, our D&D Beyond, virtual tabletop, and Dungeon Masters Guild are all going to be integrated into one grand system. This grand system will also include a small social media aspect where you can rank and rate all of the creators throughout. You'd also be able to find on the D&D Beyond front page homebrew of the day, week, month, or year. And we will address the fact that there is a legal wording in the DM's Guild that you lose your content or the rights to your content once you post it on the DM's Guild, and that's just not right. That's why we're in trouble for the OGL, and that's what we're going to start fixing right here and now. You own your content indefinitely, and we might include a clause that says we can ask you to buy your stuff, and you can say no. But we can ask you to buy it, and then we can enter into discussions for further official modules. We're the biggest TTRPG on the planet, and we need to bring light to the third-party creators that made that happen, which is why the new D&D Beyond mission will be to include homebrew at all levels, no matter what, so long as they follow our community standards and guidelines. And if they don't, there will be an age-gated 18+. For those who want to check those out anyway. And my final step for a Dungeons & Dragons plan of action would be to cancel or at least postpone the Dungeons & Dragons movie for another year, maybe even 2. There really is that much of a detrimental effect happening to your brand right here and now, and that needs to be addressed first. We don't want to give those shareholders an excuse to say, well, D&D just isn't working because we screwed it up. Well, they won't include that last part, but I will. But in this time, we're going to do our best to hire a great creative team of writers, artists, and animators so that way we can start making more novels, comic books, mangas, webtoons, Netflix shows, cartoons, anything that expands the D&D brand fairly and gets the wider world's eyes on us in a positive light. And those will also be the things that we're able to tie into in later years. The most popular cartoon might just become the most popular starter set. The most popular novel might just be the intro to our newest campaign. And the best comic books, well, those could be the newest miniatures featured on our miniature brand line. In summary, the plan is to fire those responsible for the OGL debacle going forward. Try to gain back goodwill wherever possible. Reevaluate the current situation underhand and see if there were any merits to it. We're going to start producing our own line of D&D products and even integrate with the Dungeon Masters Guild, D&D Beyond, and our virtual tabletop, allowing creators to monetize any and all of their own products, being featured on the front page of the D&D Beyond website and owning your own products as well. Additionally, wording that allows Wizards of the Coast to retain ownership of creations after they are sold on the Dungeon Masters Guild will forever be removed. Now with this here, I tried to make it as reasonable as possible without straight up tanking the company. But if you guys can think of a way to do this better, please let me know down in the comments. And before you go, I just want to read something off the legal version of what I think this should have sounded like a long time ago when they were making their first announcement, and not after there was several weeks of waiting in dead air. So please excuse me because I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to look at the camera and read this off, so bear with me here. But this is what the legal version of what they should have said sounded like. As Chief Executive of Wizards of the Coast, my first course of action would be to conduct a thorough investigation and identify those responsible for the recent changes in the Open Games license. Those individuals, whether they be executives, higher-ups, or shareholders, would be promptly terminated in order to distance the company from their actions. This may be a complex legal process, but in light of the recent failures of Magic the Gathering and the tanking of Dungeons & Dragons, there may be a viable legal precedent for such action. Secondly, it will be necessary for us to sign the ORC in order to retain leverage within the TTRPG industry. This unfortunate situation could have been avoided, but now that genie is out of the bottle. It is crucial to take action and restore trust in the community. Thirdly, in an effort to regain goodwill, I would undertake a comprehensive evaluation of the current state of affairs and determine if there were any merits to its recent changes. It has been suggested that D&D Beyond is under-monetized, and this should not be achieved through unethical means such as stealing from creators. Instead, Wizards of the Coast should focus on producing their own product lines such as miniatures, maps, and other merchandise. Utilizing our position as one of the largest toy companies in the world to produce these, this could also be used as an argument for seceding from our parent company Hasbro, as their focus on maximizing profits may have hindered our ability to fully capitalize the potential of D&D merchandise. Lastly, Lastly, in terms of the future of Dungeons and Dragons, the creative team should continue to produce high-quality content and work towards launching their own virtual tabletop. Additionally, we would fully leverage our ownership of the Dungeon Masters Guild by integrating it with our new VTT and D&D Beyond. This would allow creators to monetize their creations and have them featured prominently on the front page of D&D Beyond. Furthermore, we would remove any legal wording that allows Wizards of the Coast to retain ownership of creations after they are sold to the Dungeon Masters Guild, as this is unacceptable and has been a major contributor to the current crisis. That's what a legal thing should sound like if they were going to fix their problems, in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Leave it down in the comments below. If you think I'm totally off base, let me know. But until next time, guys, I will see you later. And if you do like this shirt, link in the comments. What's up, guys? Editing Alex right here. And I just want to point out that, yes, as a reactionary statement for the first statement, this would have been far too much. But take away any of the seceding from the Hasbro company, and it's a perfectly reasonable statement.